And from a personal standpoint, the idea of the end times is that Satan will have grasp of the hearts of men, right?
Yeah.
And even though I still go to church most Sundays, over the past couple of years, my belief system has very much distanced itself from believing in a deity or the Mormon faith. And based on the scriptural context, if I'm not praying and if I'm not reading the scriptures, I am under Satan's control, right? But yet I still don't have a desire to look at pornography or cheat on my wife or become an alcoholic or do any of these things. And I still have this desire to be service-minded and help people. So my personal experience with the not only the prophecies, but kind of the message of Satan's going to win until Heavenly Father comes back, on a personal level, it just doesn't ring true to me.
Yeah, ring true.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think,
but what do I know, right?
and I think that's a good thing to say, at the end, because I think, the situation of the world has always changed. And we could even use the example of, Christ in his day. If we recall the experience of when the woman was taken in adultery and brought to Christ, and they're like, the law says that such should be stoned. And I think in today's day and age, we would look at stoning somebody who's guilty of adultery as a bit excessive.
Just
right?
teensy.
Can we all agree right now that is excessive?
Yeah.
That you shouldn't stone somebody for committing adultery with giant stones until they're crushed and bludgeoned to death, right?
Yeah.
Do we believe that that's a...
Well, I mean, no.
You're making me want to say, I totally believe that.
The law doth say it, Zach.
So I just think it's interesting. We don't have an explicit statement from Christ saying stoning's wrong. All we have from him is, he who is without sin cast the first stone. So I think we see this, what we believe to be a perfect individual within Christianity operating within the social framework of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's an indicator that, again, to try to look at a church and hold it accountable. Again, I think I've said this in other discussions, is I think people say, like, well, the church didn't call the emergence of the interpretation of same-sex attraction. The church wasn't ready for it. Or polygamy due to social pressures, or, blacks in the priesthood. And again, I would argue that if you had such a church that had a spotless record, no controversy, no missed prophecies, no messy leadership, nothing. Again, I think that would challenge the first principle of the gospel, which is faith, right? You're just like, well, this church doesn't make mistakes, so how can it be wrong? I think that we need to be careful with, generalizing things. I don't think that conservatism is as simple as I'm not saying that it's completely inaccurate, right? But, that liberalism is progress for progress' sake, whether it's good or bad, and conservatism is always helplessly and hopelessly resisting change, right? And I think that, most people, as far as America is concerned, I think a lot of people find themselves kind of in the center of the spectrum, more moderately minded, and it is polarized, and there are people who are on the extreme ends of the spectrum, right? Again, the connection I guess I'm trying to bring to all of this is that life was never intended to be clear, and we were never meant to understand things. And if you look at yourself growing up, there were things that your parents taught you that did not ring true to you, that did not make sense at the time.
So what does that say?
Cod liver oil.
What does that say about a God if he gives you a riddle where you're never meant to find the answer to? That seems a little cruel to me.
In what sense? So you're saying,
as you just said, we're never meant to know the answer. Essentially, we're never meant to know.
We're never meant to know.
Never meant for us to know.
We're meant. I would switch it around a little bit and say we're meant to know enough. We're not meant to know everything, and it's not that we're supposed to have something withheld as much as we're supposed to know enough.